Okay, so a number squared divided by 2 is 50. What is the number? Well, that is the topic for this particular video. And if you're taking any sort of algebra course, this is a type of problem that you're going to have to be able to do. And I'll give you a clue. What we're doing here is translating verbal phrases, i.e., like an English sentence, into a variable or algebraic expression or equation. So that's a bit of a kind of a clue on what to do, but I don't want to tell you too much because I want to give you an opportunity to figure this thing out on your own. So if you can solve this problem, go ahead and put your answer into the comment section. I'm actually going to show you the solution to this problem here in just 1 second. But here's the thing. However you do this problem, just don't do it mentally. Don't kind of reason through it. Justify your work as if you were going to turn this in on some sort of quiz or math test. Okay, so back up your solutions, whatever it is, and then, of course, we'll go ahead and check those solutions here in just 1 second. And then I'm going to go through precisely step by step how to solve this problem. But before we get going, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John. I'm the founder of TC Math Academy. I'm also a middle and high school math teacher. I've been teaching math for decades, and I'm telling you right now, all of you can do very, very well in mathematics. And I'm especially speaking to those of you that struggle in math. You don't have to stay in a state of frustration when it comes to mathematics. You can be successful, but what you need is great math instruction, clear, understandable, and comprehensive. So, if you need assistance in your current math course or maybe some sort of special test that you're preparing for, things like the SAT, ACT, ASVAB, maybe the GED, teacher certification exam, things along those lines, or if you homeschool, check out my math help program. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description of this video. I have over 100 plus different math courses that cover all these various categories. And I'm telling you right now, I really think that I offer some of the best math help out there. So if you're struggling in mathematics, check out my math help program. It will help you out big time. Hopefully, you're taking awesome math notes. If you are not, you need to learn how to be a great note taker. This is really, really important to be successful in math. But in the meantime, I'll let you use my notes. I'm going to leave links to those in the description of this video. And if this video helps you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, as that definitely helps me out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the solution right now, and then we'll get into exactly how I got that solution. All right, so a number squared divided by 2 is 50. What is the number or the numbers? In this case, it's 10 and negative 10. Now, if you answered 10, I would say, okay, I would probably give you, oh, if this was, let's say, 10-point question, I would probably give you 9 out of 10 because I'm kind of a nice guy, maybe sometimes too nice when it comes to grading. But you need that other answer, that negative 10 as well, and I'll show you exactly why. But if you got both 10 and negative 10, well, let me go ahead and give you a nice little happy face with an A plus, a 100%. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a few stars so you can have an extra special day. Nice job. Okay. So again, what we're talking about here is translating a verbal sentence, okay, into a variable sentence or algebraic sentence. This is really, really important, and this is kind of the one of the primary skills you need in order to solve word problems. So everyone is so afraid of math word problems. Why? Because we're dealing with words, right? These are words, and we got to translate these things into mathematical symbols, okay? And then from there, we're going to go ahead and solve the resulting expression or equation. So let's go ahead and get into that right now. All right, so here you can see I have all sorts of things going on. Let's just go through what I wrote down here step by step, just one thing at a time. So let's start right here. So I'm going to translate this verbal sentence into a variable sentence. So I literally got to take it word by word. So the first little phrase or word I come across is a number. Okay, so what is a number? Well, in algebra, a variable, things like x, y, z, a, these are variables, and a variable by definition is a symbol that represents a number, represents a particular number. So a number, well, let's just use a variable. It could be x, it could be y, so I'll just use x. So a number, I don't know what number, just some number. So we'll use a variable x. So a number what? Like a number squared. So if I have 3 and I square 3 squared, whoops, I'm going to write that a little bit better. So here is a number, 3, and if I square it, I'm putting a little 2 up there as an exponent. So this is a number 3 squared, okay? So that's, if I wanted to write that, I have to put this little 2 in there. So a number, x squared, I'm going to put that little 2 on that x. So this is a number squared. Now we have divided by, so you can kind of see I'm going around way over here because I don't want to kind of, make this too messy. I want to bring this little line to point to this little division symbol. Okay, this is a fraction bar, but this means division, divided by. So a number squared is this thing, and it's going to be divided by, so I'm going to put that little division bar right there. Divided by what? Divided by 2. Okay, so that's why I got a 2 there. So if we just kind of focus in, a number squared divided by 2, then we have this word is. So anytime you see a situation like this, you see the word is in mathematics, that's the equal sign. Okay, is equal to or is. So is the equal sign. So that's why I got my little equal sign here. Is equal to what? 50. All right, so let's just review this real quick. A number squared, so x squared divided by 2, so that x squared divided by 2 is 50. Okay, so what we've done here is translate this verbal phrase into a variable equation or algebraic equation. Again, this is a key skill in order to be able to solve word problems and the like. And if you're taking any sort of algebra class, pre-algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, etc., you're going to you're going to be able to have to be able kind of stumbling on my words here. You're going to have to be able to solve these type of problems. All right, so now what do we got going on here? Well, we have an equation, x squared over 2 is equal to 50. And if I can solve for x, well, x is the number, okay? So I'm looking for the number that is going to be x. So I just need to find the value of x, which means I need to be able to solve this equation. So the equation, again, is x squared over 2 is equal to 50. That's our number squared. Divided by 2 is 50. So the key is, can you solve this particular equation? Well, if you want to go ahead and give it a whirl real quick, of course, I already told you the answer. It's 10 and negative 10. But maybe you want to go ahead and see if you can get that solution without seeing what to do. But let's go ahead and take a look at the easiest way to solve this problem. Okay, so what we can do here, we have a fraction. Anytime you have a fraction equaling to another fraction, the best way to solve these type of problems, let me just give you an example. 1/2 is equal to the fraction 3 over 6, right? It's either the same fraction, 3/6, if I reduce that, is 1/2. So this is a fraction, and it's equal to one other fraction, okay? One fraction equal to another fraction. So what we can do is just cross multiply. This is called the cross product. So in other words, 2 times 3, if I multiply this way, is equal to 1 times 6. All right, we can see that is true. 2 times 3 is 6 is equal to 6. So this is what we call the cross product. In other words, we can think of what's going on here as a proportion. So in mathematics, when you have two equal fractions, one fraction, not a couple over here, just one fraction all by itself equaling to another fraction, we can use this property I just showed you here, the cross product, to solve these equations. So we have 50. You're like, well, I see a fraction here, but I don't see a fraction here. Well, anytime you want to make a number into a fraction or think of it as a fraction, just put it over 1, okay? So now, right here, you're like, okay, I have one fraction. It's equal to another fraction. So what I can do is use the cross product, okay? So I'm going to cross multiply this way. So 1 times x squared is x squared, and 2 times 50 is 100. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this equation. X squared is equal to 100. But before, of course, you can see the solution here. But before we do that, what type of equation is this? Well, hopefully you recognize this as a quadratic equation. Okay, this is a polynomial to the second power. So this means that this is going to have two solutions. Okay, we're going to always have two solutions here. What number squared is 100? Well, some of you might say, well, isn't 10 squared 100? Yes, indeed, 10 squared is 100. But let's, before we go too much into that. Let's go ahead and just finish the problem, and then we'll talk about the solutions here. So we have x squared is equal to 100. How can I solve for x? Here we just simply take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 100 is both positive and negative 100. So if I asked you what is the square root of 9, just as a regular question, a lot of you would say, oh, it's just 3. And you would be right. That's the principal square root. Okay, but really, if I'm solving for a value, when I'm taking the square root of both sides, when I'm finding the solution to an equation like this, well, we need to consider both positive and negative roots. So for example, here the square root of 9 could also be both positive and negative 3, because a negative 3 times a negative 3 is also a positive 9. Okay, just as a positive 3 times positive 3 is a positive 9. So 10 times 10 is 100, and negative 10 times negative 10 is also a positive 100. So that's why you have to have both of these values in there, both the positive and negative part of this solution. Okay, again, remember with quadratic equations, there's always two solutions, and that's why I kind of emphasized in the beginning of this video right up here when I showed you the solution that the answer is the numbers is both positive and negative 10. Okay, a lot of students would probably just put that 10, and I would, again, because I'm such a nice math teacher, I would give you the majority of your credit. Then I would write some sort of little note on your paper. I would say, hey, make sure you understand that quadratic equations, there's always two solutions. So, these little details, they're not just small little details. Here, again, if there's two answers, okay, here's answer 1 and here is answer 2. If you just gave me one answer, well, then technically you only got 50% of this thing right. You got to give me the other answer as well. But hopefully, this makes sense to you. If this doesn't make sense to you, then you want to start with easier problems. But what the main topic here, again, is translating verbal phrases into algebraic phrases. And this is kind of typically covered in the beginning of most algebra courses or pre-algebra courses. So if you need additional help with this, let me give you a couple suggestions. One, I have more YouTube videos where I cover these type of problems, but I would direct you towards any one of my algebra courses like pre-algebra or algebra 1. In the beginning of, I think it's in the first chapter, I have a full complete section on all of this and much, much more. Okay, so with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.